You're actually not looking at an altcoin stock right now. You're looking at GameStop, ticker GME, which is up from $6 this month to now over $374 based on an orchestrated investment army of Redditors that wanted to take down a hedge fund known as Melvin Capital. They're called WallStreetBets. Now, I am not offering any financial advice as it is when it comes to cryptocurrency. I'm certainly not offering financial advice when it comes to what's happening here and this new phenomenon, this feud between Redditors and Wall Street. But this is a fascinating development. So we're going to cover it because it points out and emphasizes just how important decentralization is, even outside of the realm of crypto. And believe me, there's a lot of overlap here. We're going to give you guys a quick rundown of what has happened here. Melvin Capital, in essence, has lost billions of dollars based on this short bet that they made against GameStop stock. And we are going to compare and contrast exactly why this is relevant to the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and altcoins. Guys, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe to Altcoin Buzz. Okay, so in this week's craziest internet story, you basically have this personification of willpower that has manifested in this uptick in GameStop's stock price. Their ticker is GME. They're now up over 149%, nearly 150% on the day, to up over 367 or 68 or so dollars. This has been a crowd-driven, orchestrated, almost, like a pump group effectively, but you could argue that the purposes have been noble. Now, this is a little bit of a departure from what we'd normally cover here on the channel with Altcoin Buzz, but believe me, it relates certainly to the spirit of cryptocurrency and decentralization. So I think it's worth going through. We're going to discuss this story, discuss its developments, discuss its overlap with the world of cryptocurrency, and then in the latter half of this video, cover some updates that we have going on in this space with regard to the macro perspective, as well as some of the altcoin projects. Because right now the price of Bitcoin isn't doing all that well, but this is the bigger picture. This is an indirect indicator that Bitcoin and crypto and altcoins are here to stay and that they're going to win in the long term. So if you are a Redditor, you can check out r/WallStreetBets. Right now, in a nutshell, what they've done effectively is they've targeted this one specific hedge fund known as Melvin Capital, who took out a short against GameStop stock at around the $6 mark. Basically, this was, it's arguable, you could call it righteous indignation. The idea being that this army of Reddit investors refused to let GameStop fall. And they said, effectively, we're going to pool our funds together. We're going to buy up GameStop and go to war, financial war, with this hedge fund that's trying to short it into oblivion. So that hedge fund in question is Melvin Capital. Covered here by CNBC, hedge fund targeted by Reddit board closes out of GameStop short position. Now, CNBC here has a side that they're taking. They're siding a little bit more with the hedge fund. I am going to be remaining agnostic for the purposes of this video. I'm not taking the side of the crowdfunders, the Redditors. I'm not taking the side of the hedge fund, but I will kind of provide my commentary. And in my opinion, this is very much an extension of a lot of the sentiment that we saw now going back, 13 years to Occupy Wall Street. So 2008, 2009 era. But, we're kind of beyond this Internet 2.0 now, where you can realistically get people to pool their funds together and have a dramatic impact on the fortunes of, in this case, Melvin Capital that was trying to short GameStop. So here's the story. Melvin Capital closed out its short position in GameStop, although that is being disputed by WallStreetBets, on Tuesday afternoon after taking a huge loss, the hedge fund's manager told CNBC. CNBC could not confirm the amount of losses the firm took on the short position. Citadel and Point72 have infused close to $3 billion into Melvin to shore up its finances and to help with some of those losses. By every account, purportedly, Melvin has lost billions and billions of dollars. Melvin manager Gabe Plotkin told Andrew Ross Sorkin that speculation about a bankruptcy filing is false. But that still gives you an idea of where we are. We're still in that ballpark of bankruptcy discussion. That is how much of a hit Melvin Capital took. So taking a look at the stock price of GameStop, this is all January 21. This is all this year. And this is what I mean by, jokingly, this looks like an altcoin chart because it started the year at sub $20. I think even at $6 or $7 or so, that's when Melvin first took out their short against GameStop. And what you have here is a very grassroots movement of devotees, of faithful loyalists, I suppose, of people that didn't want to see GameStop be driven into oblivion based on, the financial decisions of a Wall Street hedge fund. And they said, no, actually, we're going to long GameStop. We're not only going to support GameStop, but we're going to obliterate Melvin Capital. We're going to obliterate the hedge fund. Again, I'm not taking a position on that. However, the position of those Redditors on the WallStreetBets forum is that Melvin Capital was being financially predatory. And so this is, you could argue, a retaliation against the Wall Street firm. Now, we've talked about Chamath Palihapitiya, of course. He's actually among those who jumped into the stock, GameStop, that is, saying in a Tuesday tweet yesterday that he bought GameStop call options, betting the stock will go higher. His tweet seemed to intensify the rally in the previous session. The stock ended the day yesterday 92% higher at $147.98. In fact, the stock soared to such lofty heights that, get this, GameStop was the most traded stock in one day. This from yesterday, the 26th of January. The most traded stock. So think about that. And this is the Reddit trading handle here on Twitter. We, WallStreetBets, created more volume than Tesla, the SPY, and Bitcoin with $20 billion. Can't wait for tomorrow. And by every indication, their next target, and when I say target, their next company that they're supporting against shorts, it would seem, is AMC. So the movie industry seems to be their next target that, again, they're supporting. Here on Business Insider, how Reddit day traders are using the platform to upend the stock market and make money in the process. You guys know the story right now, but here's where the commentary kicks in. And I think it's highlighted nicely by this bullet point here. One expert sees the unconventional rally as a sign that, quote, the institutions are losing some control. This is, I described it earlier as being a grassroots movement, and you could argue that it's orchestrated. You could argue that this is even a pump and dump group, although it doesn't seem to have that quality to it. That's not what I'm picking up on based on my research so far. But, of course, it's orchestrated. What this represents to me and why it's so significant is that centralized power that exists in this case in the form of Melvin Capital means nothing. It means nothing when you have a large enough group of individuals that are coming together and that are insisting upon the success of a particular company, in this case, GameStop. And it really shows you who holds the cards and who ultimately has the power. The power exists in the masses. It always has. And this is just a pristine example of that in action. Personally speaking, I've not heard about WallStreetBets prior to this news story, but apparently they've been doing this before. Options-obsessed members have boasted about trading everything from newly bankrupt car rental giants to now delisted Chinese cafe chains, and they're particularly big fans of electric vehicle stocks. Tesla enjoys unique enthusiasm on the forum on WallStreetBets. And Elon Musk also factors into this conversation. We'll be bringing up his quick take on the issue in just a second. But here I think is the takeaway of this particular piece of news. The institutions are losing control, at least some of it. So Reddit's structure and the democratic nature of users picking the most popular content differs wildly from Wall Street's research reports and market analysis, yet both generate trade ideas that proliferate across market participants. And WallStreetBets' ability to turn free user-produced research into hugely viral media has seemingly been underestimated. You got to remember, guys, that some people in some instances have made millions and in fact tens of millions of dollars from this recent upswing in the stock price of GameStop. Like, a lot of people are making a lot of money, and maybe that wasn't exactly the initial goal, and maybe that was just kind of a secondary byproduct of what's happening here, but a lot of people have been very successful with this trade that was kind of retaliatory to begin with in that sense. Quote, you have these media-driven platforms where the media isn't controlled by the institutions in the way that it has historically been, Smith said. It's really a sign that the institutions are losing some control. That is absolutely the case here. Zero Hedge commenting on the whole situation. Hedge funds are now puking longs to cover short squeeze losses. Again, you heard about that injection of $3 billion that Melvin Capital was forced to accept, and they're not the only ones affected, by the way. You have multiple hedge funds that took a major hit here. And the result is that because they were over-leveraged in their shorts, now they've been forced to liquidate their longs to support some of the losses. and kind of to recenter themselves based on what really, I mean, you could argue that from their perspective, this is a black swan event. To my knowledge, although WallStreetBets has been active in the past, you've never seen activity to this extent. You've never seen an upswing outside of cryptocurrency, and for a company as large as GameStop. Don't forget, these guys have a market cap currently of $25 billion. It was much less than that even 24 hours ago, but this is a pretty sizable company. So this is fairly historically significant and doesn't really have too many precedents that at least I know of personally. Now, here's what's interesting. You have Business Insider, you have Wall Street insiders, you have CNBC and a lot of the legacy media calling this manipulation, calling this illegal. They're threatening lawsuits and all this stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, like I said, agnostic when it comes to this one, but I don't think it's so clear cut. Documenting Bitcoin here with this observation. Users on Reddit buy a stock. They call that manipulation. Government prints $4 trillion for Wall Street, and that's just banking. No problem there. Tyler Winklevoss here commenting, and this is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of overlap between this activity, this sentiment, the political leanings of those in cryptocurrency, and what's happening right now with Reddit and with WallStreetBets. So Tyler Winklevoss weighing in. If I was the CEO of AMC, the next move would be to purchase Bitcoin and put it on the balance sheet, of course, because AMC, as I mentioned, in a supportive way, is one of the next targets of WallStreetBets. So here you have WallStreetBets chairman emeritus here on Twitter. Again, the overlap is undeniable. GameStop is Bitcoin. AMC is Ethereum. BlackBerry is Litecoin. I actually didn't know BlackBerry was still around. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit. But you see what I mean here? You have the establishment media coming out, bashing these guys, bashing Reddit, bashing WallStreetBets for the most part. When in fact, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a decentralized representation of the populace that are coming together and are deciding, you could argue democratically, to make a decision with their dollars, to vote with their dollars in essence. And that's where GameStop is analogous to Bitcoin in many ways. And AMC is Ethereum. It's a little bit early in the day to really tell you much about AMC, but let's take a quick look at the stock while we're at it. Well, there you go. I'm glad we did. AMC also looking like a bit of an altcoin right now, up 175%. I didn't realize they were this small, only $2.95 billion, and that is even though they're up 175%. I guess they were about $1 billion company before the infusion of funds started here. But I mean, I think we're beginning to see that you cannot disregard these investors on Reddit, this army of WallStreetBets Redditor investors, because they have significant power here when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to sending a message. And look, I mean, obviously some people are bandwagoning onto this phenomenon, and some people are going to be making a lot of money with these upward movements and perhaps downward movements when, obviously people are going to sell off eventually, I would imagine. But I don't think that's the goal here. Again, I don't think anybody is trying to get rich. Obviously, there are people jumping on, and they will have the goal of accumulating wealth via this process. But I think this is just about sending a message. This is about kind of sending a message to Wall Street and hedge funds and bankers and supporting companies that, I guess in the case of GameStop and AMC, that are near and dear to those that that post, that share the forums on WallStreetBets. Look at this. I mean, as we speak, this is just going up by millions and millions of dollars. Can we hit 200%? It looks like it. So AMC, comment below at the time of this video's publication. Wow. What the price of AMC Entertainment Holdings is when you're watching this video. This really is something to witness here. Pretty historical, in my opinion. And GameStop, AMC, these will not be the last companies that are going to be affected by this kind of coordinated investment strategy. So it's a fascinating new chapter we're entering here. Brave new world, indeed. And Elon Musk being a darling of the r/WallStreetBets forum, commenting here. GameStonk, kind of a little bit of a nod there in support of the GameStop stock. As I mentioned, they have beaten out GameStop. That is Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, all of the giant tech firms, and Bitcoin as well. $20 billion in trade volume. That is pretty unbelievable. So just a little bit of philosophy here as we start to transition toward cryptocurrency. At Bitcoin here, tweeting A good reminder with GME about the risks of trying to sell something you do not own. That's a comment directed at Melvin Capital. Just imagine what might happen if instead it is an asset that is strictly limited in amount, no new units or shares can be issued, and the higher it goes, the less risky it gets, i.e. Bitcoin is what's being referred to here. And then our good buddy Russell Okung out of the NFL, Carolina Panthers, I believe, who wants to be, of course, paid in Bitcoin and now is paid in Bitcoin. This guy, like whatever it is that comes out in the news, if it's kind of a liberty-oriented news story, he's on it. He's on top of it. This guy is intelligent, pretty unbelievable. So responding here to Reddit investors, don't let the media manipulate into being sympathetic to hedge funds. Hedge funds own the media. Russell Okung replying, the money talks louder than banners, marches, or the spoken word. And I think I agree with that because when we talk about banners and marches, to me that alludes to what happened. I mentioned in 2008, Occupy Wall Street. This to me is a much more salient, a much more powerful message here when people do vote with their dollars. And it seems that, it's only just getting started here. AMC, wow, now up over 211% on the day, up over $15. Let's check back on GameStop, down a little bit, but whatever, still up 136%. Let's see what tomorrow brings, guys. This is really something to witness. Okay, let's shift into some rapid fire altcoin and crypto news here, starting with Tyler Winklevoss. Big news, 9 Points Bitcoin Trust. They've raised $180 million and just IPO'd. Initial public offering on the Toronto Stock Exchange. The good old TSX. Proud that Gemini Custody is the custodian to the moon. Hey, very good. Kudos to Tyler and Cameron and to Gemini. We also have this positive macro news out of Cointelegraph.com. Circle enables seamless USDC US dollar transfers, providing a bridge from banks to DeFi. Now, this is important because it relates back to that news that we saw out of the OCC, Office of the Currency Comptroller in the US, that basically gave the green light for all American banks to use stable coins as the new settlement layer for banking. Very, very important indeed. And this development out of Circle makes it easier, of course. The results of developments in both crypto technology and regulation. Circle's new USDC API provides a bridge between crypto and traditional finances. More and more bridges are being built every day. And in this news, quickly, Coin98 Ventures announces $5 million Solana ecosystem fund to support entrepreneurs and developers in Southeast Asia. Very good indeed. Solana targets growth in that region with a $5 million grants scheme. Back to the Gemini twins here. Winklevoss Gemini pushes presence in Asia, speaking of that reason, and supports the Singapore dollar. Major cryptocurrency exchange Gemini has rolled out support for the Singapore dollar and set up a local office. Yahoo Finance is also covering that here. Gemini expands crypto offerings in Singapore. 20 tokens are going to be available for customers in Singapore, and Gemini is streamlining the application process for Singapore residents with SingPass. More good news and more signs of macro adoption. This, I guess, leaning more toward the retail side. Exclusive. eToro ended 2020 with $600 million in revenue. We heard recently about how eToro had to bump up the minimum deposit for customers using the service, and that's just because they've been flooded. They've been absolutely overwhelmed. So the trading volume of the broker reached $1.5 trillion last year with $600 million in revenue. Very nice indeed. You can read more about that here on Cointelegraph.com. And great news here for our friends over at Terra. We're thrilled to welcome investors old and new to the Terra vision. We look forward to what the future holds and invite the crypto community to join in building on the Terra blockchain to make savings, payments, and investing simpler and more accessible. With this piece here on Bloomberg.com, Novogratz, i.e. Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Capital, invests in crypto startups serving millions in Korea. And we have even more good news out of Hawaii with a new bill, so a piece of legislation that is seeking to create state-led blockchain working group. Introduced in Hawaii's House of Representatives on Monday, the bill calls for the formation of a blockchain working group led by the state's Economic Development Agency. One step at a time, one piece of incremental progress at a time. That's how you do it. You can read about that bill here on Legi Scan. I don't know how to pronounce that. We'll link to it in the description below. And finally, let's end with this piece of, I would say, positive adoption news, in the sense that it's a positive, pragmatic use case here. The American Cancer Society has launched the first ever crypto cancer fund. So the Society and the Giving Block have created a new research fund that accepts crypto donations. In fact, they accept donations in all of the following cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ether, Litecoin, Zcash, Gemini Dollar, which I think is a little bit surprising. It kind of stands out there, as does Basic Attention Token, and finally, Chainlink. You can read more about the fund here. What's cool is that the first individual that is going to be donating $250,000 or more actually gets to name the fund. They can choose any name that they want, so long as they're the first person to provide $250,000 in cryptocurrency. And donations of $10,000 or more will appear on the Cancer Crypto Fund Wall of Honor. So for any whales out there in the Altcoin Buzz army that are listening, that want to do a little bit of charitable work, or perhaps want to immortalize either themselves or a loved one that has battled with cancer, check this out. Again, quite a noble cause. So kudos to the American Cancer Society for thinking about this initiative. I think it'll be beneficial for them. All right, that is it for today, everybody. Hey, probably by the time you're watching this, I would imagine that the price of GameStop as well as AMC will have gone down a little bit, because by that time the message will have been sent. But look, be on the lookout for WallStreetBets, because it seems like every day now they're going to have a new target. And again, I use that word loosely, target. It's really more a company that they're aiming to support against shorts that are placed by Wall Street hedge funds. Look, this is, I think, a pretty divisive topic here, but let me know your thoughts about this. Like I said, I'm kind of agnostic, but if I had to pick a side, I think I would lean a little bit more on the side of the Redditors, because I don't think it's a good thing to be, a predatory Wall Street hedge fund and to blow smaller companies out of the water with your shorts. Again, if I were to pick a side, yeah, I'd probably land on the side of these Redditors that are taking action here, that are voting with their dollars. But a fascinating development that, is only something that could really happen in the 21st century. I feel like we're just getting started here. So let me know your thoughts about that, including especially if you disagree. I'd like to start a discussion here, because it is a nuanced subject, no doubt about it. But guys, make sure you are following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications if you enjoyed today's video. Best of luck if you choose to invest. Hey, let me know what other company, what should be next up in terms of Wall Street bets? Who should they support? Curious to hear your thoughts about that. Stay safe, everybody. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.